Alright, today I'm going to be talking about my May 2023 record haul. This is basically just every record I bought in May of 2023, kind of a new style of video I'm doing here. My previous haul video was, of course, the record store day one, which was just for kind of a day, whereas this is for a month. So, I mean, if you enjoy this style, let me know. Please like and subscribe. I don't want to waste too much of the intro of this video. So I do, of course, want to get on with it. This here is the very first record I bought in May this month, and this is U2's Achtung Baby. It's a modern repressing. There's not too much interesting to say about it, but it is a modern repressing on 2 LP as opposed to the, I guess, older copies from the 90s, which would be on 1 LP at times. Pretty nice, although, as I said, nothing really outstanding. It does have like a poster or something, as well as like a little booklet and everything, but it's just on plain black vinyl. Nothing really too much to say though. Now, this record I've actually already showed off on my Instagram and Twitter account because I was posting about it as an album I was listening to. This is a 1977 Canadian pressing of Steely Dan's Asia that is on transparent red vinyl, and I just want to show there is the record. I have a better picture of it on my Instagram and Twitter accounts that you can look at, but, well, it's kind of more clear that it's transparent as opposed to being in that sleeve. But here this is. It is in a gatefold sleeve, which is very nice. Lots of kind of goodies and text in there. It also does have a lyric sheet on the liner, and it is in a very glossy sleeve. So much so that if you kind of look at it now, you can kind of see me waving in it here reflected back in this video. So yeah, that's Asia. Very glossy sleeve, kind of a rare pressing these days from what I can tell. It's also apparently notable because it has the left and right stereo channels crossed from what was on the other pressings of the album. Another album I got was Electric Light Orchestra's Discovery. Now, I actually already have had a copy of this outside of the sleeve. It's just the plain record that I got with Electric Light Orchestra's 1979 Greatest Hits album. But I wanted one in somewhat better condition, both the record and then also with the sleeve and the liner and everything. So there it is. It really is just the standard edition of Discovery. Nothing too special, but it's nice to have. Another thing I got was a 70s repressing of Bob Dylan's first album. This is one of the few Bob Dylan albums I haven't had up through, I guess, John Wesley Houghton. I still don't have that one, and I'm still missing the times they were changing. I'm missing that one, but otherwise I think I have all of them up through Blonde on Blonde now that I have this one. So it's a very nice thing to have. Once again, another nice album I got this month was The Police's Ghost in the Machine. There that is. Someone had stuck the sticker off of the shrink wrap up there. I don't really know why that is. Once again, one that's in a very shiny sleeve. That's the front. Here's the back. Not too much to say about it, other than it is a pretty nice thing, and it makes me closer to completing my The Police studio albums collection. The next thing I got was this 1965 pressing of the Kinks' first US album. Very nice thing. I do have the UK pressing of Kinda Kinks, so it's a little bit weird to have the American pressing of this album, but still kind of a nice thing. The OG Kinks. Another thing I got was Daryl by the Human League, in very good condition, actually. There it is. Kind of an oddball album, I guess, compared to most of the rest of what I have, being kind of more 80s synth pop as opposed to classic rock, but once again, there it is. Another album I got was Hot Walks by the Rolling Stones. You see these around a lot. I just didn't already have one because it's about waiting for, I guess, them to come in the right condition. This one still has this little banner thing that's kind of a sticker stuck along the top that a lot of copies I see generally don't, so that's very nice. Once again, another album we have is Hall & Oates' Abandoned Luncheonette. Very nice album. I really dig the cover on this one. It's very nice, very pretty. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Neil Young's Homegrown. There's Neil Young's Homegrown. A more recent album by Neil Young, but one that was recorded in the 70s. Kind of helps, I guess, complete kind of the set I already have, and we will have more Neil Young coming up later in this video. Next is a new contender for probably most expensive record I own, and it's only actually from 2012. It is Jeff Lynne's Long Wave. Now, long-term fans of my channel, of course, know I'm a big fan of Electric Light Orchestra and Jeff Lynne. This is his 2012 covers album. I don't think it probably sold very well on vinyl, especially back then, so though it is, I did pay quite a pretty penny for this, although that's not to say it wasn't a good deal that I got either. So, there that is, and also alongside it, I did get The Light Shines On, which is a UK compilation album of Electric Light Orchestra that's comprised of tracks from the first 3 albums, although there's only 1 track from the Fjord album. It's mostly from the first 2 albums. Kind of an oddball thing, with kind of an odd album cover, but overall pretty nice. Oh, and another album I got was The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin. This helps to kind of complete my set of Led Zeppelin's albums. Right now, the only really real Led Zeppelin album I'm missing now is Physical Graffiti, so once again, this is in very good shape. Very nice thing to have. Another album I got was U2's second album, which is October. It is missing the liner, but other than that, it's in really good shape. It is in a different liner. I will review this at some point. I do have a review of the first album that I'm working on right now as well. So, very nice kind of to have that as well. Obviously, I showed off Achtung Baby earlier on. I do have this, Elvis Costello's Own Forces, the US version. Very nice. Once again, I have several of his other albums. That just is one I didn't have yet. And kind of a real treat for me is, actually, funnily enough, an album I already had, kind of like Discovery, but a different version. The Who's Live at Leeds. Now, I'd previously had the 1980s MCA repressing that's just in a standard kind of sleeve, but this is the original one with all the little kind of florals and inserts that's made to look like kind of a bootleg fold. Also, very nice collection piece. Fans of me, of course, know I'm a big fan of The Who. Alright, the next 2 albums I got while on a trip to Texas. Neil Young's American Stores and Balls. I do see this album pretty frequently, but usually in pretty poor condition. But this is one that's actually in good condition, so I finally have been able to add it to my collection. And while I was at it, since they finally had a copy of that in good condition, I also finally got Neil Young's Comes a Time. Of course, I already have Whilst Never Sleeps, but kind of filling in the gaps in my Neil Young collection there with that. Now, I actually got several kind of oddball things well, on this trip. Those were the more normal ones. The next thing I got was this. This is a 2 LP set of David Bowie's first album in both stereo and mono. I do believe this is an official release, from what I can tell. Kind of interesting. Very nice, especially to have the mono LP version of it on here. So yeah, kind of something I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But yeah. Now, the next couple of things I got were oddball items. They were actually all bootleg records. I don't really know if I'm really supposed to be showing these off or not, but I'm going to go on ahead. This is Led Zeppelin, Yellow Zeppelin, which claims to be from a 1965 performance on January 5th. I don't really know if it really is or not. If you listen to the audio on it, I mean, it clearly sounds like Led Zeppelin, or at least it sounds like Velvet Plans of Ice, and it does have Led Zeppelin songs on it, but it's such awful quality, really, that, you know, I mean, it's a bootleg. I mean, it's something that, you know, if the label could have released it, they would have released it if they thought it was actually really releasable. Especially at this far in time. I mean, I do believe this is a modern bootleg. Obviously, I don't endorse anyone making or selling these, because, as I said, the quality on these isn't great, although I do find the cover where they imitate the Beatles' Yellow Submarine to be, frankly, quite hilarious. So, yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. It's kind of stupid. I also got a couple of Bob Dylan bootlegs. This is GWW, the demo tapes. Most of this stuff on here has been released on the bootleg series, so if you really want to listen to that, I'd go listen to it there. Most of this, I think, is on the first 3 slides of the first 3 volumes of the bootleg series. So, yeah, and I also got another one, no sleeve, Wall of Establishment Bones, 1970. It's on blue vinyl, but otherwise it's not that much different. Even has some songs that aren't even really bootlegs, like Visions of Johanna. I do find it kind of funny. This one has the Pig trademark quality, as well as the fact that it's clearly made out of like painter's tape. The sleeve, very cheap, honestly. I always find kind of funny. And I also got some bootlegs of The Who. Not the first two bootlegs I have, actually. Once again, kind of just odds and ends of stuff. The Who is pretty good generally about releasing like bonus tracks and whatever, so once again, it's mostly just a collection piece. If you really want to listen to music, you can go listen to it somewhere else. As I said, I don't endorse any of these products. I mean, the Who and Bob Dylan ones are from the 70s and very early 80s. The Led Zeppelin one, as I said, is not that great a sound quality. I don't endorse it. I'm not saying you should go out and buy this. I'm not saying anyone should be manufacturing it. It's just stuff I got for pretty cheap on a trip. So for the last few albums I got this month, which were just a few days ago, I got really cheap, basically, and kind of, in some cases, I guess, just kind of okay condition, but they're nothing that I plan on being like a main part of my collection. So here we have the whole Burbank catalog and Schlangles. These are both sample albums. I've always wanted to get some of these. They have kind of an oddball collection of tracks. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of a sort of landmark, watermark of another time. But these aren't studio albums, these aren't live albums. They aren't really anything too special, other than they were kind of an interesting thing that you can only really get on vinyl. Something that the label did back in the day. Got Rod Stewart's Atlantic Crossing. Just one of his albums I didn't have. Jackson Browne's Running on Empty. I'm not a big Jackson Browne fan, and as you can tell, the spine on this particular copy is kind of busted. But it does come with like a poster or something, and the record's in good shape. And I also got Mike Bloomfield, Al Kooper, Steve Still's Super Session. Once again, I got this pretty cheap. The record's in pretty good condition. Something I didn't have. And I also got Manassas' Down the Road. That's the second Manassas album. I already had the fourth, so I figured, you know, I now have a full set of their studio discography, so I figured it's worth it for that. So yeah, none of those last few records really, you know, I didn't pay hardly anything for the whole bunch. So yeah, I got a pretty good kind of bunch of records this month in terms of things to cover both on the channel and the album reviews, as well as stuff to just sit down and listen to or analyze. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.